But let's take a look at the pricing, the different indexes that they have available. So there's typically like 5 different ones to choose from here. If there's one thing that I wish they improved, is how many indexing options that we have available for the 1-year interest crediting strategies. They do have some really good pricing for their S&P 500 indexes. We have the S&P 500 1-year point-to-point index. So I typically allocate about 50% of it into that, and then 50% into the performance trigger. So obviously, if you guys have been sticking around listening to these trainings or other ones online, you know that annuities have a floor and a cap for participation rate base. So with National Life Group, the current rate is 10%. This is priced very competitively when it comes to the S&P indexing strategies. The most that we could earn in a given year would be 10%. And on the trigger rate, again, if the markets are ever 0.001% positive, you get that 8%. So I typically like to split it about 50-50 between the two. And one other thing I wish National Life Group did have, but this is one of the important reasons of working with a mutual company and the performance of the company, is the guaranteed rate. So here it's guaranteed to have a cap of no less than 0.25%. Armageddon would have to happen for this scenario to come true and come to fruition. And the performance trigger the same at 0.25%. But typically, when you're working with A+ rated companies like National Life Group and mutual companies, they're not known for changing the rates a crazy amount. Will they change? Could this go down to 9 or 8? Sure. It could in the future, but they're typically going to be very true to what it was in the current day environment when you purchase that contract. The other ones down here, the monthly sum, I'm typically not going to use something like that, but these bottom ones are what annuity companies are going to call their volatility control indexes, VC indexes. I'm not a big fan of these. They have to price it with a participation rate that's pretty high. Now, if you're seeing sky high returns on an illustration, people are probably using more of the VC indexes, and a lot of these, they just haven't been around for too long. You guys all know what the S&P 500 is. Been around since, the precursor to like 1920, average about 10.5% since it came out. So, there's a lot of history behind it. There's a lot of stats behind it that we know it's tried and true and what it should do. These VC ones like the Global Balance, and again, it's not to say this would be a bad index to put it in, but again, there's just not a ton of data behind a lot of these indexes. So I'm not going to put my clients' money into those indexes. But anyway, how these are priced in terms of how the participation rate reads, it'd be 165%. So that means if this index did 10%, you get 165% of it. There's no cap on it. It's all just based on that participation rate. But the indexes are typically never designed to do more than like 2, 3, 4%. That's why they have to have a good pricing on this side to make it even relatively attractive. So